Okay, so you're an average guy, feel it would be cool to get out windsurfing. You're not going to be able to do what it shows on those YouTube videos with waves and high winds and loops. Forget it, okay? But you are going to be able to have a fabulous time, but you've got to have the right attitude. Number one, you've got to order and purchase equipment. And I've already said in the previous video what that should be like, okay? Number two, you've got to get to the location. What is the location? A place where there's not too much waves and the wind is basically onshore or on cross. Number three, you've got to put it all together. Don't rush that. It takes even an experienced sailor about 20 minutes to get the stuff off of the vehicle or whatever and carefully and slowly rig it up properly. And for the first few times you'll need advice. You need someone to show you how to do it and how to adjust it perfectly. How to adjust the sail perfectly, but the little details about the boom height and all that will come later. Okay, right, and now we're at this stage. We've come to the launching area. We're not going to go in the water today, okay? And we put the board across the wind. What does that mean? Okay, the wind is coming from there and blowing to there. And the board is across that, like an X, right? Wind that way, board that way. That's how I put it on the ground, because that's how it's going to be when you start, right? And number two, the sail joined to the board, but it's lying downwind, downwind. Now it doesn't matter if it's this way or that way. It doesn't matter. But what does matter is the path is downwind. Okay, this is for your first exercise. You're not going to go in the water, you're going to figure out how the hell do you get this surfboard to move with that sail. Believe me, it took them years to figure it out. Okay? So I put a little bit of stuff under the board so that I don't damage the fin. Right? So you'll be in the water eventually. Okay? So think about this. You're upwind of the board. You're swimming along like that. It's in the water, you've got to put yourself on like that. Remember, I'm 70 years old, piece of piss this is. Swing that leg over, pressure on this arm, taken up, swing that leg over, right? And like that with the mast in the middle where your private parts are, right? Then, put your hands down like that, 1 foot on, 2 foot on. Now, look at my feet. It'll be almost at the centre line, just behind it. Now I can rock and roll with the gentle swell like that as a surfboard, right? Now how do you get a sail to drive a surfboard? Don't forget, nobody thought this was possible until 1967, and then they couldn't do it until the mid-70s. What you do now is you bend over and you pull this up, right? Like that. No big drama, a little bit of forward pressure, like that, swing it out. This requires like yoga. You can't just fight some yoga, right? And now, once you put it a little bit over that way, you put it up hand over hand. Not very good drag, just hand over hand. Like that. So you get to that position. Now, this is where people tend to give up windsurfing. Because how do you get from that position to actually sailing the board? It really is quite tricky. Put it up a little bit more, take your front hand, which is my right hand, that's the front of the board, and put it just below there. And now you find, hey, you know, I can wiggle around. And that's cool, I can wiggle around. Okay, and now there's a 4-point manoeuvre, right? Number one, I'm going to hold this hand where it is in space. I'm not going to move it that way, and I'm not going to move it that way. I'm going to hold it where it is, right? But what I am going to do is transfer my weight to my back hip, which is my left hip. A little bit like that, holding that in the same place. Did you see that? I went like that, but I didn't bring that back. I didn't, I kept it there. Now you might think this is a lot of fuss, but believe me, if you do this, you'll sail. If you don't do it, you'll be in the water. So you bring that back, holding that where it is, so your arm is like that. Now, you can take a little bit of weight off your right leg and move it back, like that. Okay? And now, you drop your hips a bit, you can feel something's happening. And you bring that over, look at my hand, and forward a little bit. And you swing your hips back a bit. And then just grab that, and then holding that away and forward. Not that. What everybody does, maybe 10, maybe 100 times when you're learning, it's called your eventually learn. People put it towards them, but then they just fall backwards into the water. So what you do is do it like that. And once you're in that position, it's actually going to start moving. That's how you make the sail move the surface. Got that? And now, in the next video, we're going to do that in the water. It's a lot harder. Okay.